God's covenant with Abram. One day Abram had a vision from God saying,
"Don't be afraid, I will shield you from danger and give you a great reward."
Sovereign Lord, what good will your reward do me, since I have no children? My only heir is Eliezer of Damascus from one of my servants and will inherit my property.
Eliezer will not inherit your property, your own son will be your heir.
God took Abram outside and said,
"Look at the sky, you will have as many descendants as the stars."
Abram trusted God, and because of this, the Lord was pleased with him. One evening Abram was asleep.
Your descendants will be strangers in a foreign land, they will be slaves there and will be treated cruelly for 400 years. But I will punish the nation that enslaves them, and when they leave that foreign land, they will take great wealth with them. You will live very long and die in peace. It will be 4 generations before your descendants come back here, because I will not drive out the Amorites until they become so wicked that they must be punished.
Then the Lord made a covenant with Abram and said,
I promise to give your descendants all this land from the border of Egypt to the Euphrates River.
One day Abram's wife Sarai said to him,
"Since I haven't borne you children, let my Egyptian slave Hagar have a child for me."
Abram agreed with Sarai. After a few months, when Hagar found out she was pregnant, she became proud and despised Sarai. Then Sarai said to Abram,
"It's your fault that Hagar despises me, and ever since she found out that she was pregnant, she has despised me."
Very well, she is your slave and under your control. Do whatever you want with her.
Then Sarai treated Hagar so cruelly that she ran away. The angel of the Lord met Hagar at a spring in the desert on the road to Shur and said,
"Hagar, slave of Sarai, where have you from and where are you going?
I am running away from my mistress.
Go back to her and be her slave. I will give you so many descendants that no one will be able to count them. You are going to have a son, and you will name him Ishmael, because the Lord has heard your cry of distress."
Have I really seen God and lived to tell about it?
So she called the Lord,
Who had spoken to her, a God who sees.
That is why people call the well between Kadesh and Bered, the well of the living one who sees me. Hagar went back and bore Abram a son, and he named him Ishmael. Abram was 86 years old at the time. When Abram was 99 years old, the Lord appeared to him and made another covenant with him.
Your name will no longer be Abram, but Abraham, because I am making you the ancestor of many nations. I will give you many descendants, and some of them will be kings. I will keep my promise to you and to your descendants in future generations as an everlasting covenant. I will be your God and the God of your descendants. You must keep the covenant with me, that both you and your descendants in future generations must all circumcise every male among you. From now on you will circumcise every baby boy when he is born, including slaves in your homes. This will show that there is a covenant between you and me.
God said to Abraham,
You must no longer call your wife Sarai, from now on her name is Sarah. I will bless her, and I will give you a son with her. She will become the mother of nations, and there will be kings among her descendants.
Abraham bowed down with his face touching the ground, but he began to laugh when he thought,
Can a man have a child when he is 100 years old? Can Sarah have a child at 90? Why not let Ishmael be my heir?
No. Your wife Sarah will bear you a son and you will name him Isaac. I will keep my covenant with him and with his descendants forever. It is an everlasting covenant. I have heard your request about Ishmael, so I will bless him and give him many children and many descendants. He will be the father of 12 princes, and I will make a great nation of his descendants. But I will keep my covenant with your son Isaac, who will be born to Sarah about this time next year."
The Lord appeared to Abraham at the sacred trees of Mamre. As Abraham was sitting at the entrance of his tent during the hottest part of the day, he looked up and saw 3 men standing there. As soon as he saw them, he ran out to meet them, bowing down with his face touching the ground.
"Sirs, please do not pass by my home without stopping. I am here to serve you. Let me bring some water for you to wash your feet. You can rest here beneath this tree. I will also bring food. It will give you the strength to continue your journey. You have honored me by coming to my home, so let me serve you."
"Thank you, we accept."
Abraham hurried into the tent.
"Sarah, quickly, take a sack of your best flour and bake some bread."
Then he ran to the herd and picked out a calf that was tender and fat, and gave it to a servant, who hurried to get it ready. He took some cream, some milk, and the meat, and set the food before the men. There under the tree, he served them himself, and they ate.
"Where is your wife, Sarah?"
"She is there in the tent."
9 months from now I will come back, and your wife Sarah will have a son."
Meanwhile, Sarah was behind him, at the door of the tent, listening. Sarah laughed to herself and said,
"Now that I am old and worn out, can I still have a baby?"
Why did Sarah laugh and say, "Can I really have a child when I am so old? Is anything too hard for the Lord to do?" As I said, 9 months from now I will return, and Sarah will have a son.
Then the men left Abraham's house and went to a place where they could look down at Sodom, and Abraham went with them to send them on their way.
There are terrible accusations against Sodom and Gomorrah, and their sin is very great. I must go down to find out whether or not the accusations which I have heard are true.
Then the 2 men left and went on toward Sodom, but the Lord remained with Abraham. Abraham approached the Lord and asked,
"Are you really going to destroy the innocent with the guilty? If there are 50 to 10 innocent people in the city, will you destroy the whole city?"
If I find 50 to 10 innocent people in Sodom, I will spare the whole city for their sake.
When the 2 angels came to Sodom that evening, Lot, Abraham's cousin, was sitting at the city gate. As soon as he saw them, he got up and went to meet them. He bowed down before them and said,
"Sirs, I am here to serve you. Please, come to my house. You can wash your feet and spend the night. In the morning you can get up early and go on your way."
"No, we will spend the night here, in the city square."
He kept on urging them, and finally, they went with him to his house. Lot ordered his servants to bake some bread and prepare a fine meal for the guests. When it was ready, they ate it. Before the guests went to bed, the men of Sodom surrounded the house. All the men of the city, both young and old, were there. They called out to Lot and asked,
"Where are the men who came to stay with you tonight? Bring them out to us."
Lot went outside and said to them,
"Friends, I beg you, don't do such a wicked thing. Don't do anything to these men. They are guests in my house, and I must protect them."
"Get out of our way, you foreigner! Who are you to tell us what to do? Or we will treat you worse than them."
They pushed Lot back and moved up to break down the door. But the 2 men inside reached out, pulled Lot back into the house, and shut the door. Then they struck all the men outside with blindness so that they couldn't find the door.
If you have anyone else here, sons, daughters, sons-in-law, or any other relatives living in the city, get them out of here, because we are going to destroy this place. The Lord has heard the terrible accusations against these people and has sent us to destroy Sodom."
Then Lot went to the men that his daughters were going to marry, and said,
Hurry up and get out of here. The Lord is going to destroy this place.
But they thought he was joking. At dawn, the angels tried to make Lot hurry.
"Quick! Take your wife and your 2 daughters and get out, so that you will not lose your lives when the city is destroyed."
Lot hesitated. The Lord, however, had pity on him, so the men took him, his wife, and his 2 daughters by the hand and led them out of the city. Then one of the angels said,
"Run for your lives. Don't look back and don't stop in the valley. Run to the hills so that you won't be killed."
No, please don't make us do that, sir. You have done me a great favor and saved my life. But the hills are too far away, the disaster will overtake me, and I will die before I get there. Do you see that little town? It is near enough. Let me go over there, you can see it is just a small place and I will be safe.
"All right, I agree. I won't destroy that town. Hurry! Run! I can't do anything until you get there."
The town was named Zoar. On their way, Lot's wife looked back and was turned into a pillar of salt. The sun was rising when Lot reached Zoar. Suddenly the Lord rained burning sulfur on the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah, and destroyed them and the whole valley, along with all the people there and everything that grew on the land. Early the next morning Abraham hurried to the place where he had stood in the presence of the Lord. He looked down at Sodom and Gomorrah and the whole valley and saw smoke rising from the land, like smoke from a huge furnace. But when God destroyed the cities of the valley where Lot was living, he kept Abraham in mind and allowed Lot to escape to safety. Lot was afraid to stay in Zoar. He and his 2 daughters moved up into the hills and lived in a cave. Lesson learned from story.
Abraham was chosen by God and the Lord revealed things to him because of his obedience.
Abraham had faith in what God told him, that he would indeed fulfill his promise.
Abraham built altars to worship God at every location.
We can see from the story of Abraham that his focus was on God.
He believed and obeyed God at all time. He knew that God was willing and able to keep every promise he made.
Hands-on learning activities that can be done at school, church and home. Parents, guardians, and teachers help your kids to explore the following activities. Ask children to list all of the things a person has to do before they move house or go for a vacation. Discuss how much work Abram and Sarai had to do to obey God moving from one place to another. Discuss the meaning of the word sin. Explain that the word sin is thoughts or actions against God's word. Have some children act out situations and let others guess if the actions are right or wrong.
Thanks for watching this video and watch our other Bible stories. Like and subscribe to our channel for other Bible learning stories and video updates.